Hello, guys, and welcome to Beyond the Whistle with me, Matty K, and Grace. Well, how are we doing, Grace?
I'm good, thank you. How are you, Matthew?
Yeah, I'm good. What have you been up to?
Working, working. What about you?
Yeah, pretty much the same, to be honest with you. Run up to Christmas, so we're getting there, aren't we? You had a weird night out there, didn't you?
I did, yeah. We went to a Greek restaurant. It was an absolute hoot. They were smashing plates. There was singers. Oh, it was amazing. Honestly, what a night. We were just there to have a nice chat. Turned out, turned out we were just stood up screaming and singing and doing all sorts. It was brilliant. It was amazing.
What, did you not know that lot was going to be happening?
No, we just thought it was a normal Greek restaurant. And essentially, we went out for a meal. Then there was supposed to be a silent disco afterwards. I couldn't go to the silent disco, so I just went for the meal. And most people said they would have rather stayed in the Greek restaurant than gone to the silent disco. And I don't blame them because it was excellent. Honestly, highly recommend.
Fair enough. Did you get to see much football?
Oh, I always try and find a way to watch all my football. Yeah, I pretty much watched every game I could, other than obviously the 3 o'clocks are difficult. What about you?
Yeah, I run up to Christmas. I've been doing a lot of shopping, to be fair. So again, I saw what I could. 3 o'clock games are always awkward in the UK. Um, but yeah, no, I
Yeah.
watched what I could really. Watch the highlights and match of the day. Not really much to say, is there, this weekend? Nothing really major happened in the press conferences. You know what I mean? It's pretty boring week,
Boring, to be honest.
unless
Yeah.
you're Mo Salah.
Yeah, unless you're Liverpool and imploding from the inside out, then nothing's happened.
Yeah, well, we'll jump in. Like one thing, like I said on the last recording, I always like to when something like this happens, the limelight kind of gets taken away from the opposition a little bit. And the game was Liverpool 3, Leeds 3, and Leeds were actually really resilient. You know what I mean? From the manager being under pressure, and he got told if he loses the next two games, he's gone. He's played Man City, which was a last minute winner. He beat Chelsea, and
Yeah.
he's gone to Liverpool. That's a hell of a run for Leeds, isn't it?
Well, in the position that they're in, I think a lot of people are now considering them relegation fodder. I think they're definitely in that discussion. And I think, to be honest with you, I think they'll continue to be in that discussion. But they've really got themselves some points the last couple of game weeks. And you can't really you can't really say they've not deserved them either.
Yeah, and to be was it 2-1 or 3-1 down? There was 3-1 down at one point, wasn't there?
They were, oh, hang on, let me look at my notes.
Oh, you got see, this is why you prepare.
Yeah. No, they were 2-1 down.
2-1 down.
Uh 2-1
Oh
down.
yeah,
Then it was
yes.
2-2. Then 3-2 Liverpool, 3-3.
Yeah. Well, I mean, fantastic from Leeds to be fair, because they bounced back quite well. This was taken away. They won it from what happened after the game. I mean, Liverpool are still in that um, sort of period where people are sort of watching them quite heavily and scrutinising everything they do. But then all of that got blown up at the end of the game when Mo Salah decided to come out and do this interview. Did you get to see it?
I didn't get to see it. I've seen the highlights. I've read all of the mass media that it's created. And the question is, are we going to see Mo Salah in a Liverpool shirt again?
Hard to say. I mean, what's your thoughts on him actually coming out and saying this?
I don't like it. I don't like it, if I'm honest. I think there's one thing being passionate, and there's another thing, I know he understands. He feels he's being thrown under the bus, but I think it's an internal issue. Do you know what I mean? And I think with football having so much media coverage, you are in danger of putting your team in a rough position. And I think if you've got a problem, you've got to deal with it internally. I don't like it. I think it's very unfair to his teammates, if I'm honest, because I imagine all of these decisions, they're all managers' decisions, aren't they? They're not his teammates. And the truth is that was one heck of a game that we should be talking about the fact they were 2-0 up and they ended up drawing 3-3, but instead we're talking about what he had to say afterwards. And it's just a shame for me. It's a shame. And I think it doesn't matter how you feel about it. I don't think those things should be offered up to the media in the way that he did it, because they can just run with it and they can make the club look horrendous.
Does Salah come out and say this if Liverpool goes on to win the game? Because they were 3-2 up at one.
No.
Leeds come back, obviously, 3-3. If it did finish 3-2, does he come out and make this press conference?
No, because I don't think he's got anything to really say. I mean, to be honest with you, I think if he was going to say it, it was only a matter of time before he did. If it wasn't this game, it would have been the next one they lost that he was on the bench. But I don't think he would have had the sort of he came out of that game having not played. He'd sat on the bench and they drew. Do you know what I mean? That gave him a lot of sort of motivation to come out and say, "Oh, I'm being thrown under the bus. I was promised this and this isn't happening, and I don't have a relationship with the manager and things like that." They're really damaging statements to make, and they're obviously emotionally very uh they're emotionally motivated, and I think it's wrong for the emotions. He's human at the end of the day, so you can't criticize him too much, but I just think it was the wrong choice.
Yeah, so I've got a few problems with him in this interview. I've not always been the biggest Mo Salah fan. I've got to be honest. It's quite a what's the word? An unpopular opinion. But yeah, I think
Hmm.
this was planned. Definitely, he only ever comes out and speaks to the media on rare occasions. The last time was when he wanted to come out and basically force a new contract and said that he's not sure if the club want him there anymore. So
Yeah,
yeah, this was definitely planned. We spoke about this before. He has every right to be on the bench. I think it's taken absolute balls from Aaron Slot to put him there in the first place because he knew the
I
scrutiny.
agree.
He knew the scrutiny he'd get from the media. He knew the scrutiny he'd get from Salah, but he deserves to be on that bench. His form's just been non-existent, and he doesn't track back to help. Now, I saw something else, and I haven't researched this, so this might not be true. So I'd have to double check. So I'm a bit skeptical about saying this in the first place, but I'd heard somewhere that when he signed this new contract, in that contract he had an agreement with Slot where he said he doesn't have to drop back and help out as much. Now, if that is true, why are you putting like clauses like that in a contract in the first place? And why are you letting a player have that much power?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I hope that's not a clause in the contract because, I mean, to be fair, I think you're right. He doesn't track back, but that has been completely overshadowed by his impact, in the final third. He's been a magician for years and his goals have completely overshadowed anything else he's done on the pitch. But I would be upset if I was a Liverpool fan and that was in one of my players' contracts because that's damaging to the team for one person's happiness. Do you know what I mean? Oh, you know what I said about wingers last week? I don't want a winger if he's not going to track back. I don't want him because that is half of his job for me. Yes, it is important he can get forward and cause problems in the final third, but I need my winger to track back and help out because there are times when the going gets tough and you need men back. And so for me, oh, I'd be fuming. What about you?
Yeah, well, like I said, if this is true and this is in the contract somewhere, it is mental that the club has even given a player that much power in the first place. No player is bigger than the club. One thing I did
Absolutely.
want as well was if I, well, basically, he's putting Liverpool in a position where he's saying it's either me or Slot. And if they do sack Slot, they're going to bring in, or they're looking at bringing in Xavi. He's quite high up on their list. But if you look at his style of play, his wingers do drop back and they're constantly up and down the wing. So what is he going to do when, you know what I mean, if he takes over?
And this is the problem is it feels almost a short-term fix, if you like. It doesn't feel like if I'm honest, I'm not saying I would choose Schlott over Salah, but I do think Liverpool have to consider the fact that Salah's future at Liverpool is no longer long term, it's short term. So for me, decisions about the club, like you said, no player is bigger than the club. Decisions about the club cannot be surrounded by one player who is not the next 5 years of Liverpool. Let's be honest. You're not going to be building another team around him. He is coming towards the latter stages of his career. To be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if he wanted a big payout somewhere, go to one of the leagues like Saudi League or, the MLS or something like that where he can get his sort of final paycheck and retire. I wouldn't blame him for that. I don't think any decision should be made around Salah and that being it. Yes, he's done wonderful things for the club, but that can definitely still be ruined. Definitely. He's done brilliant things on the pitch, but just stay a legend. Do you know what I mean? leave a legend. Don't ruin it now. Leave a legend. Liverpool fans for years, decades from now will still be thinking about Mo Salah and his impact at Liverpool. Do not ruin it. That's the thing I would say. Do not ruin it.
Yeah, I mean, before we move on, because this has been done to death in the media constantly anyway, is it tarnishing his reputation?
Yes, of course it is. At the end of the day, there's so much power given to footballers in general. And I mean, we could do a whole other podcast on youngsters who are told that they're going to be the next Messi or Ronaldo, and the way it gets to their heads and the way in which they show themselves within the media, within public, it can get out of hand. And I think this is one of those situations where you have to step back and say, I am a footballer, I play for a team, the world doesn't revolve around me. Do you know what I mean? And I know it's difficult because I'm sure half the people Mo Salah talks to tell him that the world revolves around him. But I think he has to be careful. He has to be very careful, in my opinion.
Yeah, and especially the scrutiny that Trent got when he decided to leave the club, and he actually sort of went about it in the right way. He came out openly and just said, "Yeah, I'm going." So this is definitely very unprofessional. Not something I wouldn't
Yes, I agree.
expect it. But anyway, shall we move on to Aston Villa? Absolutely flat.
Absolutely.
Aston Villa 2, Arsenal 1. What did you get to see this?
I did. I sat and I watched it. And do you know what? It's one of those games. And I wouldn't say, I wouldn't as a fan of a London club, I wouldn't be best pleased seeing Arsenal win the league. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I'd be thrilled to see Arsenal win the league. I wouldn't be. That's just within my nature. And seeing a team like Villa, who, let's be honest, beginning of the season, were really struggling at points. To see them play some of that football that they played, oh my God, it was a delight. It was a delight. And to be honest with you, I think they deserved the win. So when they scored that winner, me and my dad were sat on the sofa. We cheered. We literally cheered, like pure gut reaction, cheered because they deserved it. They deserved those 3 points.
Yeah, 100%. I can't. Is this the start of Arsenal bottling it?
Oh, it's
'Cause-
really difficult. I don't want to say yes because this is a different Arsenal side, and I do think they're getting points they previously wouldn't have gotten. I think they'd have slipped up before now. I think Villa are a really difficult team to play, particularly at Villa Park. So I don't want to say yes, but the rise of Man City at the moment, seeing them, getting 3 points and doing it quite systematically, is making me think City, it's going to take a month and a half, 2 months of City getting 3 points every week, and then they're out of sight. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. No, fair play to Aston Villa. They've been on absolute form at the minute. There was one question I did want to ask you, right? Okay. So
Mm.
you are running a club.
Yeah,
You bringing in Unai Emery or Mikel Arteta as your manager?
Unai Emery.
Oh, that was very quick. I thought it was going to be a bit more like thinking time there.
No, I'll be honest with you. I never. If Arsenal don't win the league this season, it will prove to me what I've always thought, which is Arteta is not a good enough manager, and I don't mean that disrespectfully. He's not at the level of Pep. He's not in those higher echelons of managers, in my opinion. I never saw Arteta winning in the league with Arsenal. I never saw it. I don't think he's got the adaptability. I don't think he's got the okay, here's a problem, I'm going to solve it within 10 minutes of a game, which I feel Pep has, which I feel, I'm using Pep because obviously he was sort of trained by Pep, if you like. And I just think he was a product of Pep, but it doesn't mean he's the level of Pep. And I just think Emery is constantly overachieving with the squad he's got. He knows his players. He knows how to get the best out of them. He knows how to get them going. Do you know what I mean? He knows how to motivate them. And I can't lie. There was the substitution the other day, when it was 1-1. And Unai Emery brought on Buendia at the perfect time. And I think Arteta brought on Martinelli. And it's not a bad sub at all, bringing on Martinelli, fresh legs. But I said to my dad at that point, Buendia is a game winner. He comes on and he causes havoc. And that is exactly what Emery did. It was almost tactical. It was almost, well, it obviously was tactical, but you know what I mean? It was almost instinctual. He was going to bring Buendia on and Buendia was going to cause some problems and Buendia got the winner. Do you know what I mean? I thought that was a real sub of intent. And I don't mean that from a Buendia is a better player than Martinelli because I don't think that's the case necessarily. Especially as Martinelli's much younger. I think I'm pretty sure he's got less experience, I believe. Um, I'm not comparing players. I'm comparing the impact that that player has on that team. I think Buendia has more of an impact going into that Villa side than Martinelli has going into that Arsenal side.
You've
What about you?
well, no, I feel like going back to that question, I would be picking Unai Emery every day of the week. But I don't know if that's a little bit of the Tottenham bias coming out there. I think
Yeah.
Arteta is again, he's going to be Arsenal's nearly man, nearly gets them there, but
Yes.
that's as far as he's going to take them. Um, one thing I don't quite like is all these Arsenal fans screaming about the injuries that they've got at the minute. And yes, they've got injuries, but every team's had injuries. And at the start of the season, all the Arsenal fans were waxing lyrical about their squad depth. And oh, if he gets injured,
Exactly.
they can be replaced by them, or he can play in that position. And now, when it's actually affecting you in the league, you're all sort of crying about the injuries, and I don't like that.
Their centre back partnership that they have with Saliba and Gabriel injured is better than West Ham's starting 11 partnership. I'm not having it. I'm not having it. They've got one of the best squads on paper. Sorry, I feel quite passionate about this. Every team has to deal with injuries. It is part and parcel of the game. You cannot talk to me as a West Ham fan and cry about your squad or cry about the numbers you've got or anything. We put 11 players out on the pitch and pretty much only have children on the bench. Do not talk to me about it because I will not hear it as an excuse. Every single team has to deal with injuries. That's the bottom line for me.
It's the way you manage it, isn't it? Look at Tottenham last season, the injuries that they had, and they still went on to win a trophy
Exactly.
at
And
the
it's
cost of being
possible.
17th.
It's say that again.
At the cost of finishing 17th.
I heard you the first time, but I wanted you to say it again.
I'll play that. Cut that.
I deserve that. I deserved it.
Do you think Villa can challenge?
Why not? Why not? I think I've spoken to a lot of Chelsea fans who I trust as very good football fans and who are very level-headed, don't get carried away. And they believe that their title challenge has now been and gone. They've lost too many points that they needed to, grasp. Like Leeds away, they should be getting something from that. Minimum a point. I actually, to be fair, minimum 3 points. They should be getting 3 points. Um, but if Chelsea were in the equation a week ago, why aren't Villa now? Do you know what I mean? I think Villa could. Why not? Let's have them in there. Let's have them in there as challengers. Will they go the distance? Probably not. But it's, right now, yeah, why not?
I'm just not sure they've got the squad depth for it.
And I don't disagree. That's what I mean. Will they do the distance? Probably not. But right now, I'm saying, yeah, why not?
Have they got yeah, they're in Europa. They're in the Europa League or Europa Conference? Europa League.
Uh, oh, that's a good question. Europa League, because it's Palace who are in the conference.
Yes, correct. Yeah, I don't think they've got the squad to manage both, to be honest. So if you want the distance in Europa League, I think your league form's going to take a hit.
And actually, I'd quite like to see them win the Europa League. I think they could go on and win that.
We did speak about this the other way, didn't we? About when Arsenal slip up, other teams have to capitalise on it. And this week it actually happened with Man City. Man City 2, Sunderland nil. They do close the gap. Can we just talk about how incredible Phil Foden has been?
Um, Phil Foden has just switched it on. He's just switched it on, and it has been. He's a delight to watch at the moment. I don't know about you, but just as a football fan, sitting and watching Phil Foden, he's one of my guilty pleasure players at the moment. Um, and that's a big result, to be honest with you, given the context of the league, given how good Sunderland have been, given how much of a test Sunderland were for Arsenal. City won that. I don't want to say comfortably because I don't think it was comfortable, but fairly comfortably. There was a level of comfort with that City win. And I think it was a big statement personally.
Well, you say it wasn't comfortable, but you look at Sunderland, the performance they put up against Arsenal in the 1-1 the other week. they didn't really seem to like double down on this Man City game. They seemed to sort of like once that first goal went in, that was it. They're just sort of like, oh, here we go, and it was sort of like back,
But
like
I
took off it a little bit and sort of just cruised.
but I think there was an element of they were potentially overwhelmed with the attacking threat that City really pushed for in that game. Foden must have been an absolute handful. Do you know what I mean? Imagine coming up against him in the position he's in at the moment. Because he got it was oh my God, sorry, I have to mention the Ryan Cherky assist. Did you see it for Foden's goal?
Yes,
The Rabona. Oh my God, absolute delight, absolute delight. It was. Do you know what? I just think Sunderland was so like they were just blinded by these incredible goals. Now I'm joking, but they were sort of maybe a bit windswept, maybe a little bit. They were fast. City were fast the other day. They really went for it, and with Foden the way he is, I don't know. Maybe we could say Sunderland had an off day, but I'd like to think it's City really just rattling them. Do you know what I mean? Really introducing them to the Premier League how they should have been introduced. That rattling distance between quality.
yeah. I mean, I'm watching Phil Foden from behind a cushion at the minute because I decided to go with Jeremy Doku in my FPL team instead of Phil Foden. So it's through gritted teeth.
Mm.
But he's been phenomenal, to be fair. And Man City's attacking threat is just absolutely second to none. And I do think they are going to cruise. I said this the other week. They're the only team that I know that could probably go on a 10 or 15 game winning streak.
Yeah, absolutely. And they could be gone. They could be gone. They could be away from us by March. Do you know what I mean? It's they are when they get going, they are like I said last week, I know a lot of people find it boring. I know a lot of people want competition, but when you see a team play the way that City team can play, I think it'd be an achievement given who they don't have anymore and who they've introduced and added to that squad. Yeah, I have quite a joy watching City play the football that they can play.
Yeah, and it's not even a case of like because everyone's saying about like Man City's defense being weaker this season. They've never had a solid defense, but they just outscore their opponents. It's that simple, isn't it? Look at the Fulham game, for example.
Yeah, and I think as well the key thing they've been able to do so well previously is keep possession so beautifully. They have just controlled games. They've not allowed teams in. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those they've just controlled the tempo of the game. They've just been unplayable, and that's what I think of when I think of City. I think of that dominant possession based game. It's so hard to master, and I just think I'm sorry, I love it. I love it as a fan who likes to analyze things and look tactically into a game. I love it. I just think I'm so envious of that style of football.
No, 100%. Um, Next game, Everton 3, Forest nil. Do you want to talk to us about it?
Wow, it is. Let me get, let me get my notes out. Where is it? When did it happen? Well, this is terrible, isn't it? There you go. Second on the list. Um, I was surprised, to be honest with you. I thought Forest would put up a little bit more of a fight. I think Dewsbury Hall is really impressing me at the moment. I don't know about you. I him and Grealish are an absolute force to be reckoned with when they're playing well. First goal was a Milenkovic own goal. Unfortunate, but sometimes it's just the way the cookie crumbles. Barry got himself a goal. That was the second goal, and 3-0 was Dewsbury Hall. It was one of those goals that I think was almost it could almost be misunderstood in terms of how difficult that goal was. That was a tough finish. And I just think with an informed Dewsbury Hall and an informed Grealish when they get playing, tough to play against, really, really tough, and Forest found that out.
Not even just them two. I mean, Everton are in form in general. And like you said, I expected this to be a little bit closer. I don't know if it's a bit of hangover for Forest with Europe and stuff like that. But the, yeah, for Everton absolutely like they're flying at that stadium as well, aren't they?
They love that stadium, and as a West Ham fan, it breaks my heart in a sense because that's the type of thing we wanted with going to a new stadium is that ability to really make it hostile, make it a difficult place to go, and that's exactly what they've made the Hill Dickinson so far. Is no one wants to go there. No one wants to play Everton at home at the moment. Um, Maybe the bigger teams probably can go there with some level of confidence, but I certainly wouldn't. I
We
wouldn't
did.
as a say again.
We did. Tottenham beat
Well,
him.
yeah, you lot are like this. You're
Yeah.
like this. I can't. Well, at the moment, you're a bit like this, and then all of a sudden you went whoop the other day. Anyway, we'll get on to Tottenham. Um, no, but I'm just envious. In all honesty, Matty, I'm envious of what Everton have created at that new stadium.
Yeah, it's probably the second best in the country, isn't it?
Yeah,
Forest. I won't mention the first. But Forest, is the manager bounce sort of ended now?
difficult one. I Can you say there's a bounce when Sean Dyche is in charge? No, that's hard.
Well, you say
Um,
that, but then you look at when he came in and stuff, and he sort of balanced Forest out a lot more. And I genuinely think it is just a bit of hangover from playing in Europe and stuff. They haven't got the.
yeah,
I mean, to be fair, I don't think anyone expected Forest to be there in the first place.
yeah. I think you're right. I think the one thing Dyche has really brought to them is that balance. I think you spot on. I think, it's tough anyway being a team who aren't quite up to the level that they should be, or the fans feel they should be, that the personnel suggests they should be. It's hard being that anyway. Add in a midweek game,
Mm.
sort of twice a month or however often it is. That's tough on the squad. They are going to have performances like this, and you like you said, I expected it to be more a bit closer than it was, but I don't know whether I'm shocked because, like you say, it is so tough to balance those games when you're not used to it.
Who did they play midweek? Do you remember?
No, I'd have to look it up. I forgot.
They
Hang
played
on.
Bayern as well. And I was wondering, like even when you get a break from the Europa League, there's that many games now, and they're putting midweek games in. But I generally can't remember who they played or what the score was.
Uh, they played Wolves and they did win, but it was
Oh, you
1-0. It was tight.
They could have played from home
Yeah.
and still won against Wolves, couldn't they?
Hmm. Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. They could have just not bothered getting off the team bus. It's horrible, isn't it? I don't like doing it because West Ham are in that position sometimes.
Oh, we'll get there.
I'm being really critical today. I'm sorry. I don't know what type of day I've had, but I'm being
Yeah.
really horrible for no reason.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, Forest, if it carries on like that, it won't be too long until Marinakis gets his face back in the picture, will it? But it's a good job Glasner's not the manager of Forest, isn't it? Because did you see him ask for the board to back him in January? Did you see that?
Yes.
So, yeah,
Yeah. And
it's actually midweek, wasn't it?
tough one, because yeah. And is there an element of their exceeding expectation as it is? Look, I think it's always harsh when a manager has to ask for backing. You know what I mean? I think it's clubs should back their managers. Do you know what I mean? And I think especially with what Glasner's achieving, unless he's expecting God knows what from them, unless he's expecting too much from them, which he's not that type of guy. I don't see him as that type of guy. I think he just knows where he needs to reinforce, and I think I don't like managers having to ask for it. I'm again not to bring it back to West Ham, but I support a club where pretty much you have to go, pretty please, I want some money, before you can get anything, and even then they'll probably do it on the cheap. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one. I don't know how Palace fans feel about the board. I expect them. I expect they're reasonably happy. That's actually one board I don't hear mentioned too often. Um, but I think it's one of those in for a penny situations, isn't it? You're gonna back Glasner while you've got him. You're gonna back him. See what he can do. See what he can do.
Yeah, it's tough on them. The only thing I've seen about people saying about the board was when Palace got knocked down from Europa to Conference and that whole that fiasco.
Yes, that's a shout.
But I never, even then, I never heard anyone. really go in at the board. It was more just kind of saying like, "Are you going to fight for us?" Which you'd fully expect that anyway. But anyway, we'll talk about the game. Palace 2, Fulham 1. Now I've been watching Fulham since like 'cause I watched them against Tottenham and I watched them against Man
Hmm.
City as well. And they are starting to turn a corner. They're looking a lot better. Obviously, unfortunately, they lost this one. But a bit of VAR drama in this one, wasn't
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. Uh, are we talking about the Chukwueze offside? Is that what we're talking about here?
there? Yes.
I didn't see too much wrong with it. I'll be honest with you, I missed it. I didn't see it in real time. I've watched highlights. I didn't see too much wrong with it. I could be very wrong in terms of what Palace are getting at. Sorry, what Fulham are getting at in terms of the problem. What have you seen about it?
No, again, I'm the same as you. I was hoping you'd watched it, but no, I'm the same. I kind of just sort of seen the highlights and stuff. But again, I've not really got too much of an issue with it. But what did you see Fulham's actual goal though?
Oh, delightful. Delicious from Harry Wilson. That was, oh, I love Harry Wilson. Harry Wilson's another one of my guilty pleasure players. I love watching him play football.
He's got sub left foot on him, hasn't he?
Oh, I literally like I wrote down in my notes, uh, Wilson goal, delightful in all caps. Um, Back heel and the finish was just oh, that's what football fans are there for. That's why I, as a neutral, watch football. Beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. Just as just the full everything about the goal, the build up, the finish, all of it. It was incredible. But
Yeah,
do you know what?
yeah.
I think this is going to be a 10 for Fulham. I know they lost this game, but they look quite good. And even against Man City, yeah, right. I think he was like 5-2 down at one point or whatever. But you're scoring goals, which is what you wasn't doing at the start of the season. Um, so yeah, no, I think this could be a turning point for Fulham, and I wouldn't be too disheartened with this result. To be fair.
Yeah, and I think look, again, you have to put it into context. Palace is a tough game. Palace is not an easy game. And I think it was slim margins. Do you know what I mean? You're not looking at anything major. I quite like Fulham in general in terms of their squad. I think the players that they've got. I like the fact that Smith Rowe's getting some I think he scored. Didn't he score? Pretty sure he scored. Oh no, his goal was disallowed. That was the one that was disallowed with Smith Rose. But I like seeing him play well. I like Iwobi. I've always had a soft spot for Iwobi. I think look, they've got a good side, and I really like Marco Silva as well. And I think if anybody's going to turn Fulham around, it probably is going to be Marco Silva.
Yeah, I do like Silver, and he's always going to get them that sort of like 15th to 10th place in somewhere in that sort of table. So they'll be fine. Palace again, we spoke about Palace in the past. They're incredible. I think Glasner is an insane manager. Enjoy him while you've got him because he's not going to be there for long.
100%. He's going to be nabbed at some point. If it's not in the Premier League, it's going to be in another league. He's he's brilliant, and that game was a game of really really good finishes. I mean, Nketiah's goal was very good as well.
Mm. Yeah, 100%. Right, time for me to get really happy now because we finally had a home win this week. Tottenham 2, Brentford nil. Did you get to see this? Because it's a rarity.
I I got to see an impressive performance from Xavi Simons, I have to say. He shone. He was very good. His sort of solo goal, if you like, delightful. That's the type of thing you bought him for, wasn't it?
100%. And we've not had a chance to see it yet. I mean, yeah, when you buy a player like that, you've got to chuck him in and he's got to adjust to the Premier League or whatever. But I think having them couple of games on the bench and just letting him sort of maybe watch the game from a sideline, it gives you a different perspective from a player. And I think this was a right game for Xavi because Brentford were at the races. They were quite slow. They were quite poor actually, to be fair. And yeah, I think putting him on there and letting him just sort of feel his way into the game because even like the first 10 minutes, he didn't look quite there. But once he found his feet and he sort of settled, he just flew and he was the man of the match by far in that game.
100%. I think he just immediately shone for me, and that's the player I expected when it was sort of rumored. I was expecting that level of player to come out and cause mayhem like he did, and oh God, from your perspective, that's more of that. more of that as Tottenham fans. I'm sure that's what you want to see more of.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, did you see the first goal as well, Richarlison?
Yes, and it was set up by him, wasn't it?
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
what did I write?
I think I can't remember who played the ball over the top originally, but the ball was played over the top and then down that side where Kudus usually is. But the ball, it, again, is one of them that you've got to. I don't think you really appreciate how good that ball into the box is until you played the game. Like it was bouncing, he just gets the perfect contact on it, and I think everybody in the stadium thought Richarlison was going to shank it wide, but or over the bar. But yeah, absolute perfect performance from Xavi, and I think we need. I mean, at time of recording, Tottenham kick off in a few hours for the Champions League tonight. I
Who
think
they got tonight?
uh, I did know uh, Slavia,
Terrible. I don't know. I should know.
Slavia Prague, I think.
Ah, okay. Yeah,
Um,
tough game that.
Yeah, but I think it's got to be one that Xavi starts. I think he's got to, if he's after that game, see if he can kick
Yeah.
on.
Give him the confidence boost. I think what was so lovely, and I think, I am having to sit with my neutral head on. What was so lovely for Tottenham fans was how well constructed that first goal was. Obviously, the second goal was very individual, but that was a love, like you said, the ball over the top, the cross in from Simmons. That's how quick a team in the top six need to attack, and they need to score more goals like that. And I think that was a really nice demonstration of a well constructed goal.
Yeah, well, that's what I was kind of expecting. Similar to the Tottenham second goal with the Xavi's goal. That's what I was expecting when Thomas Frank came into the club because you win the ball quite high up the pitch, and then it's quite like, it's fast attacking football, which is what I like. You play on the break, sort of, kind of. That's how he like. It's hard for like Tottenham haven't seen a sort of structure from Thomas Frank yet, but that is what I expected Thomas Frank to bring to the club when he first came in, and we sort of saw it against Brentford. I don't know whether that's because he just knows Brentford like the back of his hand, and he sort of knew how they were going to set up or whatever. I'd like to think it's just the players are finally like coming to sort of his philosophy, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yeah, I think he's changed the team a lot, hasn't he? He's changed the formation and he's changed the way in which they've gone about the game, and I just don't think he's found his mojo yet, if you know what I mean, with the group of players he's got. It hasn't helped that the likes of Xabi Simmons potentially haven't hit the ground running. Not that you can expect him to hit the ground running, but you know, you do feel hopefully from a Tottenham perspective they can kick on now and see a bit more consistency.
Yeah, without a doubt. Brentford, I won't worry about this too much. To be fair, yes, he was quite poor against Tottenham, but I think you're going to be fine. Thiago, is that right?
Yeah, Igor
Yeah,
Thiago, yeah.
incredible.
Oh,
He's looking really good. He looks really strong as well. I think at one point he shoved Mickey van der Ven off the ball, and I was just like, fair enough. Can't really argue with that.
yeah, absolutely. And he's one that has hit the ground running. He's one that's really come in and he's now sort of the figurehead. He's the scary one, if you like, when you play against Brentford because he just gets himself involved, and I like it. I really enjoy watching him play.
Yeah. Just before we move on, there was one thing I wanted to ask you from a West Ham sort of view. Mohamed Kudus, did you see this? He tried to sort of like do a little flick or a little reburn or something like that, and it didn't go right. It went out for a throw in, I think, and Van der Ven and Romero ripped into him on the pitch for this. Is this something that we're going to see quite regularly from Kudus?
How many times? How can I say yes in pretty much every language?
Is he showboating then?
Yeah, I mean, he's a bit. I mean, to be fair, it was potentially overshadowed at West Ham a little bit because we have Paqueta, who absolutely adores pulling out the most random tricks at the most inappropriate times. Um, but no, he's just like that. He will, and sometimes it will work. Sometimes he will pull it out the bag and it'll be an absolute wonder goal or wonder assist or whatever it is. But no, there will definitely be points where he doesn't do what you expect him to do, and that potentially isn't a good thing. So yeah, I think he can showboat potentially at inappropriate times. Can I say that? Yeah, yeah, it's very normal for him.
Oh, fair enough. I mean, we've talked about him, so let's jump straight there. West Ham won, Brighton won. Now, I'll let you take the lead on this, but I think we've got a bit of VAR controversy to talk about. Were West Ham robbed?
I don't want to go as far to say robbed because I think the rules were correctly put in place. Think I don't think VAR got it wrong in terms of how the rules are applied. I just don't like the rules. I think that's the way I would put it. I think there's loads of different reasons why I've seen that the goal was given at the end. I mean, first of all, I think we played really well. We played really, really well. I was pleased. I was starting to see the lineup absolutely baffled me in so many ways. But as I said on my social media, that it was either going to be genius or stupid. And to be fair, I think it worked well. I think he did. It was a good idea. I didn't really like the midfield changes. I think we took out Magassa, who scored in the week, and Potts, who is essentially the new Declan Rice, and we absolutely adore him. We took him out, and I don't think our fixtures are congested enough to sort of warrant a break. Do you know what I mean? A sort of rest. I, for me, I don't think it warranted it. I think they should have started. But then again, I think who we did start, they played quite well. I thought Mateus Fernandez was delightful to watch. He's really, oh, for such a young player, he's so composed. He's brilliant. He reads the game really well. Um, and honestly, I think we should have scored more than we did. And then Wilson came on. I think it was smart, the timing of Wilson coming on, and he was just like the missing piece of the puzzle. Came on, caused havoc. Bowen, scoring like he previously has done. I think anybody who watches West Ham consistently would probably say that Bowen's been a bit off it recently. Um, and then obviously at the end, look, I never like shutting up shop. It's something I don't think you can do in the Premier League consistently. You're asking for trouble because for me, you always need an attacking outlet. Arguably, he doesn't have the squad to do that. It's sort of the 11 out there is the 11, and then you've got to make do, if you like, with subs, and it is easier to bring on defensive players for us at the moment than attacking players. But he attempted to shut up shop again. It was later in the game, but it was only one, we were 1-0 up. It didn't feel right to me. I don't love those tactics. And Brighton pushed and they pushed and they pushed, and then Ruter's goal was controversial. There's no doubt. Did you see it?
Yeah, so I think you've sort of nailed it really, where you said it was implemented correctly, but it shouldn't be there in the first place. Like it's handball, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't see how anybody doesn't think that the way his arm touched the ball changed the trajectory of the ball, helped him control the ball, which naturally helped him create, the chance he had, and then the chance that he had after that, which led to the goal. And I think apparently, had it been directly before the goal, it wouldn't have been given. Apparently, that's the rules. They don't sit right with me. It just doesn't. I think it's in the situation where Sam are in, where 3 points would have been massive at the Amex, massive. And I just think dropping 2 points for it just feels harsh. And I think we deserve to win the game. It's not like it looked smash and grab, from the outside, but we deserve those 3 points. I think we were better than Brighton in many, many ways.
Yeah, no, I'll agree that there's no way that the goal should have stood. It's hit his arm, and it's as a result, the goal has come from there, hasn't it? It's like
Mm.
it to me. It's sort of like it. A goal can be ruled out from a foul in the build-up. So the handball was still in the build-up of play. So how is that not implemented in? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you can pull a goal back for a foul that happened at the halfway,
It's silly. Like,
go on.
yeah, as what are we defining as phase of play?
Hmm.
What is a different phase of play? Because like you said, you can bring it back from a foul that's happened before the halfway line, but you can't bring it back to the incident essentially directly leading to the goal, or actually not directly leading to the goal, indirectly leading to the goal, I think is the best way to put it, because it wasn't the chance that Ruter scored, but it helped. He controlled it, and the trajectory of the ball changed because he controlled it with his arm, which meant he got that opportunity. It's all a sort of it all happened for a reason, and it just feels harsh. It just feels harsh.
No, I agree. Brighton, I mean, what did you take from that sort of from the game in sort of like Brighton's perspective?
I think Brighton fans would be disappointed. I think Welbeck potentially wasn't as influential as he previously has been. I still, I really like Ruta. I'm a big fan of Ruta. I thought Belieber actually didn't have a great game. I thought Fernandez actually showed him up a bit in midfield. Again, you got to take this with a pinch of salt because I was wearing claret tinted glasses, but I just felt Belieber was not as not as I don't want to say influential again, but he does play an influential part in that Brighton side, and I just felt I think he got taken off quite early actually. Yeah, disappointing performance from a Brighton perspective, I imagine. It wasn't quite as potent as they have been at home. Um, but you could argue that we minimised what they could create.
Yeah, 100%. Just before we move on, are you slightly worried from a West Ham sort of point? I mean, like your next couple of games are quite tough. You're already quite down there anyway. Can you see yourself getting any points before Christmas? Because I can't.
I don't know. This is West Ham, mate. This is West Ham. You go into games, you don't expect to get points, and all of a sudden, you'll get 3 points. You never know with West Ham. It never works how you expect it to work. I think Villa at home is a really, really tough game, particularly after getting 3 points from top of the league. But I don't put it past us to get a draw or something. I really don't. It's a strange thing being a West Ham fan because it's never over until it's over. And I'm just taking every game as it comes at the moment. I think we play good enough football to not go down. Is where I'm at the moment.
I agree. I don't think you'll go down. You are sitting at 18th at the moment. You've got Villa, Man City, Fulham, Brighton again, and then Wolves. So there's your 3 points. Um, but yeah, that's the Villa, Man City, Fulham, Brighton. That's quite a tough run of games.
Yeah, but I think I might be going to the Fulham game actually, which I'm very excited about. Um, I think that's winnable. I think obviously Wolves is winnable. We should look to get 3 points from that. And the difference is we'll be playing Brighton at home. Not that we have much of a home advantage, but we should have some level of belief that we can go and get something from that game.
I mean, how far away the fans are from the pitch, you might as well stay at home, aren't you? Should we
Literally.
jump on to the next game? We just said about Brighton there sort of being a bit hit and miss, but Newcastle have also been quite hit and miss this season, right? Newcastle 2, Burnley 1.
Yeah, and I'm annoyed at this one actually because I said it would be 2-0 Newcastle, I think, in my predictions, and Burnley scored late on, and I was frustrated by that. Newcastle are a difficult one. They're a tough one. I think there's some times where it really works for Newcastle, and I think everything goes smoothly and they can give anybody a game. But there's other games where they aren't hitting it. They're not hitting the mark. Things are off. I think Eddie Howe's still got quite a lot to do. Um, I think Anthony Gordon is another player that I adore watching play football, and I think he had a few chances in this game that he should have buried. Um, yeah, it's tough with Newcastle. I think they will have they'll just look at this game as 3 points on the table. Done and dusted. Move on. Honestly,
Yeah, you can't really complain. I mean, last few results as well. I mean, they got the 2-2 draw against Tottenham. We won't go into that because, I think I'm still reeling over the headlock that Dan Bain had Benton Corin. They beat Everton 4-1, which was, again, that was a commanding win. But you see, again, these are another team that have sort of got a battle with Europe. I mean, they're playing Bayern Leverkusen next, and then it's Sunderland. So, and Sunderland are flying at the Stadium of Light as well. So
yeah,
I could see Newcastle dropping points there. Fulham, Chelsea, and
100%.
so again they've got a tough run of games with the Fulham game is a cup game actually chucked in there, but they've got a tough run of games and what uh, what what am I trying to say? The like fixture congestion. Do you know what I mean? I think that's going to be another team that sort of struggle with that as well.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, that week of Bayer Leverkusen and then And then Sunderland, that's a game week and a half, isn't it? I mean, look, they've got to take every game as it comes, and I think honestly, I'll probably be predicting a Sunderland win,
Mm.
especially at the Stadium of Light. I think that is a really tough place to go, and if there is one game those fans will be up for, it is that one. That will be a hostile place, really hostile that day. A tough place to go and play a game of football. Um, but Newcastle are a bit similar to West Ham, really, where they can sometimes get results from games like I didn't expect them to beat Everton 4-1. That's I didn't expect that. I think sometimes they can. Did you say Chelsea and United are in that fixture list?
Yeah, Fulham was in there, but that was a cup game, and then you've got Chelsea, United as well.
Yeah, see, I would not be shocked if they get themselves points from those games. I really wouldn't, because they're that type of team where they can just, if things click, they click. Do you know what I mean? And it really works. And yeah, fixture congestion is 100% something they've got to worry about, but they're the sort of side that should be starting to get used to that fixture congestion now with the regularity of European football. Um,
I'm just sort of checking the
so yeah,
sort of what players they've got out injured as well at the minute, but they've got rotation options, haven't they? I mean, look at Harvey Barnes, who's been flying, and then he didn't even get a minute against Burnley, so they've got options.
yeah. I mean, they've got Alanga and oh, who is it?
Jacob Murphy's in there.
Oh, what's his name? Jacob Murphy. They've got that rotation, which is, both of them are unbelievable on the day. I think Jacob Murphy he was brilliant last season. I argued that he probably shouldn't have been sort of replaced, if you like, if Alanga was coming in to replace him. I think he's showing again that Alanga doesn't just step into that position. Um, so yeah, I think you're right. I think they've got the rotation options.
Yeah, should we jump into these final two games? I mean, the one at the bottom we've got here is Man United Wolves. We'll get onto that in a second because that was the Monday night game. Not too much to say about this.
Yeah.
Bournemouth nil, Chelsea nil. Bournemouth are struggling a little bit at the minute. Again, Semenyo's form's dropped off a little bit. Bournemouth's form's dropped off a little bit. Chelsea have slipped up in the title race. Like you said earlier, you spoke to a few fans and they're sort of think that their challenge is already done. From a Chelsea point of view, I think this is something where you'd have to take points from. Right, with this sort of form that Bournemouth's been in, I'd be quite disappointed as a Chelsea fan. A point's a point, but I'd be looking at three.
Yeah, so would I. So would I. I think that's one of those. They always say that the title race is often down to those fine margins of not getting points where you should get points. Not necessarily the game against the big teams where you drop the points. It's more about going to Bournemouth away and not getting 3 points. And they should, like you say, with Bournemouth's form at the moment. Um, I think this is possibly showing Bournemouth how reliant they are on Semenyo in terms of just tempo, really, just in terms of Semenyo makes everybody around him better. And I think he was out injured because he definitely didn't play the game we played Bournemouth. Um, and maybe that's, had a knock on him and he's just not quite as influential at the moment. I'm sure he'll pick it back up again. But yeah, it's yeah, boring one. I expected better from them too.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, we say about Chelsea dropping points, but Bournemouth did have the ball in the back of the net with Semenyo as well, but it was ruled out for offside. Liam Delap come off with another injury. I have just seen
Yeah,
it
worrying.
there actually. What did it say? It came up while we was talking earlier on. It does say that Delap is expected to be back before 2026. Not quite sure.
Yeah,
He's injury prone, isn't he?
he is, and it's disappointing. Again, I've got a few Chelsea fan friends, and a lot of them, and they're not necessarily regretting the transfer. I think he can be very influential in his own way, but his injuries have been problematic for them, and again, it's going to cause them a problem. And he was suspended, wasn't he, for discipline issues as well. So he sort of got that as well. I honestly don't see Delap being at Chelsea long term. If I'm honest, I don't know about you.
No, I agree. I mean, I was fortunate enough to watch Liam Delap quite a bit when he was on loan for Hull. But even then, still quite injury prone and stuff like that. I mean, they're getting Cole Palmer back slowly. I think you're going to have to bring him back quite slowly. I did want to ask you about that actually. Chelsea, is there a big disciplinary issue within the squad. I mean, they're getting yellow cards every week. They're getting pretty much a red card a game nearly. Is there an issue there?
Yeah, yeah. I think these things, there's no smoke without fire, in my opinion. I think that when it comes to those things, it's a breeding ground, if you know what I mean, in terms of those changing rooms, and they've got to stamp on it now. They've got to, because it's there's going to be a point early on in the season you can sort of go, oh, that's annoying. But in the latter stages of the season, say they do have a good run of form, and they do get themselves challenging again, if you like. Um, that could be the difference. That could be the difference for them, and so they need to learn that discipline. It's almost. I almost feel like I work in a school, so my mindset is there, but I almost feel like it's like two teachers because their squad's big, because they've got a lot of players, and I almost feel like it's that two teachers with 30 kids situation where you're never gonna get all of them perfect at once. And it almost feels too much to manage at points. That's how I feel a bit about Chelsea's squad, is it's almost you can't pinpoint where the issue is because there's so many of them. And it's potentially something they need to look into 100%. Stamp that out immediately because it's only going to get you in trouble.
Yeah, I was just trying to like when you were talking, I was looking back through Chelsea's previous games and looking at the cards and stuff, but there's too many to count up. I can't even. There's no point in me getting started. But yeah, 100%, you've got to stamp that out. Right, final game of the game week, Monday night's fixture. It looked. I mean, Wolves have struggled to score, haven't they? They've not scored since October, and then Man United hold my beer. It looked like there was about to maybe get some points on the board. That was swiftly turned around.
Yeah, yes, it was one of those. They went into half time, and I think Wolves fans were hopeful. I think Man United naturally, at the moment, offer you that chance to score. I think they've got that in their game at the moment. They're vulnerable in that sense, and Wolves, unlike them at the moment, they capitalised on it 1-1 at half time, but United from an attacking point of view just switched it on at half time, and their quality really came out. Um, yeah, and fully deserved the 3 points in my opinion. I think it was a really positive performance from a Man United perspective.
Yeah, positive. I mean, it's sort of when you think of Man United, they think the sort of it's kind of hard to explain. I mean, if you look at their previous sort of fixtures, the beat Wolves, everyone's beaten Wolves, so I won't get too hyped up about that. But then at West Ham, I'd have expected United to go on to win that, but they didn't. Beat Palace, lost to Everton, drew to Tottenham, drew to Forest, beat Brighton, beat Liverpool, and it's like quite. It beat Sunderland as well. And it's sort of a bit of an up and down season, but they're sort of kind of going under the radar a little bit.
They're all over the gaff, but I think they're in sixth now, aren't they? Something like that.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
it
yeah.
sixth they're in now?
Yeah, they're in sixth.
Which
They
is mad.
level on points with Chelsea, 1 point behind Palace.
Which is crazy when you think about, you know, there's still talks about Amorim. I mean, I heard yesterday that if they lost to Wolves, Amorim wouldn't have been allowed back on the coach. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy. It's crazy to me. I think I was talking about this with Tottenham. They are the epitome of this. They are just all over the gaff. You don't know what United's going to turn up. Um, I think I mean I don't know about you, but I have a bit of a soft spot for Mason Mount. I love him coming into form, and he scored a good goal last night. And I think he's a one heck of a player if you get him in form. Obviously got some injury issues as well. I think in terms of attacking play, they are pretty good. It's that vulnerability that what I worry about, and teams will capitalize on more than Wolves did. Um, so I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. You don't know what United's going to turn up. Um, I guess there's no ceiling. There's no ceiling for what they can achieve, but there's also, they could have 2 or 3 games where they get nothing, and find themselves sort of 10th, maybe even bottom half again. It's a really challenging one for United at the moment. I can imagine the emotions are everywhere.
What's your thoughts on Bruno Fernandes? Because he gets a lot. I mean, obviously, I've got the FPL podcast as well, and in the FPL world, he's sort of like really frowned upon. But he just keeps delivering for United, doesn't he?
I The one thing that really changed my attitude about Bruno Fernandes was when he said he would stick by United. when they were going through the really, really tough period. I just thought that's so respectable, and I've really liked him since then. And he does deliver. He does deliver. I think he can complain a little bit too much for my liking, but that's modern football. Um, I really like him. I think he is everything that is good about Man United. And I think what's key for Man United and Man United fans is he embodies that resilience and that commitment that United fans are so used to. And even in a turmoil, in a time of turmoil, he is that stable head. He is that sort of person that can come up with magic and can make something happen. I'll be honest with you, Matt. I really like him. I've got a bit of a soft spot for him.
Okay. And a couple of questions before we wrap up. Will Man United make Europe?
Oh, too early. Too early. I don't know. I don't know. I think they've got every chance, but the league is so all over the place that who knows?
What was your game of the week?
Oh, game of the week. I knew this was coming, but for some reason I didn't make my mind up.
I didn't. I
Oh, it's
two
gotta be
minutes.
Villa Arsenal. It's gotta be Villa Arsenal for
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
Yeah,
correct.
that's the one.
Yeah, that's what I was going to write down. And as we are approaching it very shortly, who is going to win the African Cup of Nations? Oh, throw the curveball.
Oh,
No idea.
I can't wait, by the way.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to it. Really going to be watching for that sort of World Cup, looking to see who can challenge in the World Cup. Um, uh, I'm gonna go. Oh, I really don't know. Senegal, maybe? Yeah, I think I'm gonna go Senegal.
Yeah.
What about you?
Morocco.
Ooh, ooh. I mean, Morocco are always on that list of sort of dangerous. Do you know what I mean? They can be dangerous, but I never put them in that big category from AFCON. Do you know what I mean? So it'd be interesting. I'm really looking forward to it.
Should we have a look at who the favourites actually are?
Yeah, have a look because I'm sure Ghana must be up there.
Uh, are Ghana in it? Did we not have this conversation last time? Was it not? Was it because we talked about Kudus and Semenya not going, didn't we?
What did we? I thought Ghana were. Oh God, that is terrible from me.
I'm sure
If
we,
they're
we
not even in
said
it.
about them not going, didn't we? Where is it on here? We do you remember Morocco and their World Cup campaign that they had?
Yes, yes, I do.
Why can I not find it on here? Right, I'm gonna Google it.
Yeah,
Uh,
because Ghana have qualified for the World Cup.
African Cup of Nations. So this is according to Sky Bet. Morocco are favourites to win.
Are they?
Morocco
Interesting.
heavily favourites as well. But
Interesting.
Egypt are up there. Algeria, Senegal, Nigeria, Mali, Ivory Coast.
Yeah, I think Algeria were in there for me as a potential. Do you know what? That's terrible that I didn't know Ghana hadn't even qualified. That's horrendous. I
Yeah,
just assumed they had. Of
we was talking about Kudus not being pulled up for AFCON because obviously
course, yeah,
him and Semenya get to stick around, which is kind of good because we do need um oh Mohamed Kudus to stick around. It's a creative outlet. So yeah, I'm quite fortunate.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna go Morocco.
yeah.
Senegal, I quite like Senegal as well, actually.
Mm, they're always the one for me that I think can cause problems. And was it Senegal we've just played? England played very recently. I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, we lost to
And they
them.
battered us. They battered us in every department, pretty much. They battered us. So yeah, I'm going Senegal. Senegal.
I'm still gonna go Morocco. We might even have a little sort of like mini pod about it towards the end of the tournament. But I'm looking forward. It's good to see. I don't like how it's mid-season, but other than that, I'm looking forward to it.
I think it's harsh as well because there's a World Cup in what, 7 months or something? That feels harsh, doesn't it?
So,
That feels really harsh.
ooh, one question before we leave. Egypt going to win the AFCON with Salah lifting the trophy. Does he walk straight back into that Liverpool team?
Oh, If they'll take him, maybe. Look, it's maybe Liverpool and Mo Salah need some time apart. Maybe they need to go on a break, and this AFCON can provide that. Um, maybe we'll see. We'll see the circumstances. We'll see how terrible his relationship with Sos is after this. Yeah, that who knows? What do you think?
No, I think you're right actually. Yeah, maybe a little break apart does need to happen as long as he's not, talking to any other teams while he's out there.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past him.
We might have seen Salah play his last game in a Liverpool shirt.
Oh, I'd be sad to end like this, I think.
Yeah, it would be 100%. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all the game we've covered. Make sure you all hit subscribe, like, follow whatever platform we're on. I don't know, I can't keep up these days. But yeah, hit like, hit subscribe. Check out our TikTok channel as well, which will be Beyond the Whistle because we do a little predictor. Is that what we do? Game week predictions, where we pick three games each. It's one
Yeah, we do predictions.
yeah 1 point for the correct result, 3 points for the winning score. I think that's right. Did I say that right? 1 point for correct result, 3 point for the
Yeah,
score. Yes.
yeah.
Uh, can't remember who's winning. I think you're winning, to be fair, but we'll figure that out later on. But yeah, hit like, hit subscribe, follow for more. Check out Grace because she's all over TikTok as well at Grace Wild, I think.
Great One Football. That's what I am everywhere.
There you go, smashed it, Grace. I will see you on the next game week.
Yeah, absolutely. See you then.
All right, thanks guys. Bye bye.
Bye.